Let's talk about another WrestleMania match, and then we are going to be moving into our topic. I want to talk a little bit about Gunther and Jey Uso. This is another match that people have been, and everybody acknowledged this last year or so, Jey Uso has been on a tear. I saw more little kids dressed up like Jey Uso this year than any other wrestler. He's over like Rover. You can just see the reactions and know that. But it's weird sometimes, this WWE fan base. We want it, we want it, we want it. No, never mind. We changed our mind. And it feels like that's what's happening with Jey Uso. And even guys like Kevin Nash have been critical of Jey. So it feels like a lot of people were like, hey, we hear you. He's over, but we didn't really want this. But now they've turned the heat up on it. I mean, we saw blood involved in this angle, and now there's some more storytelling. But recently, the world champion Gunther was on the Ariel Helwani show, and he shared his thoughts about Triple H being in charge. And of course, he's here to plug WrestleMania. But this one bit I'd like for you to take a listen to here, Eric.
Sure.
That as well, maybe.
So how would you describe working for Paul? How would you describe working for, him as the leader, his vision, the way he does things differently than the previous regime?
Well, I would say to a degree, and obviously he's my boss, and I'm in a very good position at the company right now, but I think to a certain degree that, he saved professional wrestling to a big degree, I think.
Wow.
Because, when I remember when I started, 2005, I started, and all the Europeans that kind of like tried to get into WWE, it was such a mystery about it, like who to talk to and what to do. It seemed so far away, such an unrealistic point to achieve. And Hannah was the one that pushed for opening that world to WWE and created so many jobs and opportunities back then for so many of the guys, like for us, for all the European guys. But then in general, it's just, he opened the floodgates for the wrestling world outside of WWE, and I think that's since then the change has been very positive, and I think that was a big achievement, to be honest, because the business changed since then, and it changed to the better. I think it's the hardest that it is right now, and that all started back then when he started NXT and started working more with guys that worked on the indies before and stuff like that.
What do you think, Eric? Did Triple H save wrestling?
From Gunther's point of view, he did, and I think Gunther made some really, really good points. If opening up the floodgates, as Gunther put it, meaning more people working, better opportunities, more independent promotions around the world, if that's what Gunther's referring to from his perspective, then who's going to argue with that? That's how the business grows. That's called evolution. You're either growing or you're dying. That's growing. And I get, when I first heard that headline, it's like, what? He saved wrestling? I mean, it's a bit of a stretch. But if you put yourself in Gunther's shoes and you see the world from his perspective, he's right. I think Triple H is responsible for a tremendous amount of growth in WWE. And I think NXT has been a big part of that. And I think it's just seeing the tip of the iceberg in terms of what that show will yield in terms of benefits to WWE. Braun Breaker and a whole bunch more ready to come out to play. So I think from his perspective is right. I think it's a pretty broad, overall was if Paul would have got snatched up by aliens and taken off to another planet to start a wrestling company on Jupiter, I think WWE would still be here. And wrestling would still be here. But I also got what he meant. And by the way, what a class act. That man is a class act.
Well, let's talk about WrestleMania together. We're going to be doing it live right here at 83weeks.com immediately following night 2 of WrestleMania. So go ahead and turn on your notifications bell so you won't miss us when the final curtain falls on WrestleMania. If you're curious, Jeff Jarrett and I will be live on night 1. So immediately following night 1, we'll be with Double J over at myworldpod.com. But of course, the main event, by God, Cody Rhodes and John Cena. That's what everyone's going to be talking about at the water cooler on Monday. And Eric Bischoff and I are going to be live chatting with you. We're also taking your live questions, but of course, last week we had some live questions we didn't get to. Eric, I'm going to try to get through as many of these as we can before we jump into our topic today, which is WCW video games and licensing. Ask a Bum wants to know, has anyone ever legit mistaken you for your character? Have you ever ran into someone in real life who didn't get the memo, Eric, and they thought that you really were that guy?
Oh yeah. No, they didn't react to me the same way that they would react to me in a live wrestling experience or environment. But yeah, I mean, there were people that worked at Turner Broadcasting who were scared to death that the president of the company was the character and vice versa. I mean, it was an issue. It was a big issue. And even out socially or in public, what I notice is the most is if I'm at a convention or a signing of some sort, or just I'm out somewhere going through an airport and somebody recognizes me, and you can always tell, the eye contact's a little different, the energy, the vibe is a little different when somebody sees you and they really want to come over and say hi or ask for an autograph, but they don't want to, they're awkward, right? They don't know how to do it. I can spot it from 100 feet away, usually. And then, I'll make eye contact with them and maybe smile or whatever, just to let them know it's okay. And all you have to say is, hey, pleased to meet you. I'm on my way to the plane, but sure, I'll take a selfie. Boom, take a selfie, and off I go. And you can just feel them go, oh, man, he's not that asshole I thought he was. Or maybe they're just nervous and I'm interpreting it incorrectly. But yeah, it's definitely happened on an intense level professionally when people who had never met me before went, how could someone like that run the company? It's funny.
We got another live question here. This one is from Dan. He says, I have a weird question for you. As far as video, why on some old school footage I watched there are black bars on each side of the screen, and some old footage doesn't have the black bars on each side? Of course, he's talking about the 4:3 aspect ratio, I believe here. Do you have a reason on that? Why is some video stretched and others are not? I don't know the technical reason. Do you, Eric?
I don't know for certain at all. Here's my wild ass guess. Probably the format that it's on. Is it a 1-inch tape, 3/4 inch tape, digital? Maybe that might be an answer. Because when I first started learning how to edit, Vern was using 1-inch machines, which probably should have been sold and replaced in the late 60s or early 70s. But that's what he had. That could be it. But I'm not technically experienced enough to be able to answer that question. But I bet you we're going to get an answer before the show is over. Somebody out there, give us an answer. Come on.
Ivan has said he's here live with us, and he says, Eric nailed it. That is correct. So how about that? You live to enlighten.